Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. You know our goal here. You bring us the sources, we dive in and pull out the really important stuff. It's your way to get properly informed fast without drowning in details. Today, we're heading into some pretty deep traditional Eastern wisdom. Our source is a commentary on a really key Buddhist text, the Amitabha Sutra. Specifically, we're looking at how Venerable Master Ching Kung explained Master Wu Yi's famous commentary. It's a big deal in the Pure Land School. Our job today, take this rich traditional material and kind of unpack its core ideas for you, especially if you're coming at this from maybe a more Western perspective. Get ready for some ideas that might, well, make you rethink things. Spiritual progress, reality itself, and the power in just saying a name. All right, let's jump in. We're continuing with Master Wu Yi's introduction, the Xuan Yi. We talked before about the essence and function. But today, the source takes us into some, let's say, trickier points in that intro. And then we actually start looking at the sutra text itself. And the first big things Master Ching Kung tackles is this historical argument that really upset a lot of people. It's about whether you can get reborn in the Pure Land by taking karma with you, or if you have to eliminate it all first.
Yeah, that sounds like a make or break kind of question. What was the core of that whole debate?
Well, there was this lay practitioner, Chen Jianmin, who apparently searched the entire Buddhist canon, the Tripitaka, and he basically said he couldn't find the specific phrase, taking karma to be reborn. So he argued, you must get rid of all your karma first.
Oh, wow. I can see how that would be pretty devastating for people, feeling like they're not perfect enough.
Exactly. Because, I mean, isn't the whole appeal for many people that Pure Land offers a way, even with imperfections?
Right, precisely. Master Ching Kung actually told this story about meeting an elderly practitioner, Zhu Xuande, at an airport back then. And this poor guy was just really torn up, thinking maybe his decades of chanting were pointless if his leftover karma blocked him.
That's heavy. So how did Master Ching Kung address that kind of deep distress?
Apparently, he just smiled and said something like, look, if you couldn't take any karma, forget it. Nobody would be there except Amitabha Buddha.
Huh. That's quite a direct way to put it. What was the logic behind that?
He pointed to the really high-level bodhisattvas, the ones almost to Buddhahood,
Right.
like Guan Yin, Mahastamaprapta, Manjusri. Even they, the source explains, still have this tiny, tiny final bit of fundamental ignorance left. It's called Xing Shang Wu Ming.
Okay. And having that last little trace, does that count as taking karma in this sense?
Absolutely, in this context.
Yeah.
Master Ching Kung's point was, look, everyone short of a fully perfected Buddha carries something. So the question isn't if you take karma, is how much is okay for rebirth. Saying you need zero, karma basically slams the door on everyone, even those top bodhisattvas.
Why? So that eliminate all karma view, while it sounds strict, kind of misses the whole point of the method.
Exactly. But Master Ching Kung did acknowledge there's a truth to it in another way. He said the more karma you manage to clear before you go, the higher your grade or rank of rebirth will be when you get there. So your effort isn't wasted. It still counts for something.
Ah, okay. So it comes back to that principle of relying on the meaning, not just sticking rigidly to the exact words.
Precisely. The four reliances guide practitioners to grasp the underlying meaning. And the meaning, strongly supported by great masters like Wu Yi and Lianqi, is that, yes, you can take karma specifically enough to be reborn in the common dwelling land, the sort of entry level of the Pure Land.
Got it. So you arrive, maybe with some baggage. What happens then? Does anything change?
Oh, yeah. This is where the Pure Land's power really kicks in. The source calls rebirth a living departure. It's not like dying and then, poof, you're reborn somewhere else. It's a conscious transition, and the instant you arrive, you're bathed in Amitabha Buddha's light.
And this light, it actually does something to the karma you brought.
Significantly, yes. That light immediately helps clear away major karmic obstacles. Master Ching Kung mentioned it helps eliminate things like the 88 kinds of afflictions tied to wrong views, big hurdles.
So you bring it, but the Buddha's power helps clean it up on arrival. And this links to the instant spiritual upgrade you mentioned. That sounds pretty wild.
It really is one of the most stunning claims. Based on your own practice level when you arrive, you might, technically only be at an early bodhisattva stage. But because of Amitabha's vows, his immense power and compassion, you're instantly raised to the status of a Vinivartanya, irreversible retreat.
Irreversible retreat. What does that actually mean in practical terms?
It means you literally cannot fall back. You won't regress into lower states or lose your progress towards Buddhahood. And this status in the Pure Land is equivalent to a very high level, like a 7th ground bodhisattva, maybe even higher.
Wait, hang on. You could arrive as, like, a beginner bodhisattva and instantly function at a 7th ground level. That kind of jump just doesn't happen in other Buddhist paths, does it?
That's exactly the point the source emphasizes. Master Ching Kung says, quite emphatically, search the entire Tripitaka, you won't find this anywhere else. This kind of immediate massive leap in functional spiritual status is presented as totally unique to Amitabha's Pure Land. It's a direct gift from his vows.
Okay, but is that your power then, or is it like Amitabha holding you up?
Initially, it's mainly the Buddha's blessing, his jiachi, holding you at that level. But the environment is so conducive that you very quickly cultivate to actually reach that level yourself. The source suggests maybe in just 1 or 2 kalpas there, which, as we'll see, is incredibly fast. And that supportive blessing doesn't stop, even after you attain Buddhahood there. It just shows the immense compassion involved.
That speed.
But,
Yeah, let's talk about that. How fast are we talking compared to, say, practicing here?
well, practicing here in our world, reaching Buddhahood takes, honestly, mind-boggling amounts of time. We hear terms like 3 great asamkhya kalpas, numbers so vast they're almost meaningless to us, or even just immeasurable kalpas. Thinking about that can be, frankly, pretty discouraging.
Yeah, it makes the goal seem impossibly far off.
Exactly. But the Amitabha Sutra suggests things are radically different in the Pure Land. It says, all the highest virtuous people assemble together. And the source clarifies, this means those top-tier bodhisattvas, the Dengju Pusa, just 1 step from Buddhahood.
Okay. And Amitabha became a Buddha 10 kalpas ago. So lots of beings have gone there since then.
Right, but Master Ching Kung makes this interesting calculation. He says, look at the sheer proportion of these highest-level bodhisattvas mentioned. If it took everyone the full 10 kalpas after arriving just to reach that stage, there wouldn't be so many described. So the implication is, many must be reaching that near Buddhahood stage much faster than 10 kalpas through their own practice there.
Faster than 10 kalpas? How much faster?
He suggests maybe, for many, it takes perhaps just 3 or 4 kalpas of practice within the Pure Land building on that initial boost to reach that Dengju level themselves.
3 or 4 kalpas versus 3 great Asamkhya kalpas. I mean, that's not even comparable. The acceleration is unbelievable.
It really is. And this incredible speed is presented as one of the biggest reasons why someone should wholeheartedly want to go there. It just cuts through potentially endless cycles of difficult practice and setbacks elsewhere.
Which leads us to maybe the most profound point from Master Wu, the one Master Ching Kung highlights. The status of irreversible retreat means completely achieving the 3 irreversible retreats.
Okay, let's break that down. Status of irreversible retreat, we got that. Once you're there, you don't fall back. You get that instantly on arrival.
Right. And the 3 irreversible retreats are usually taught as separate stages, right? Irreversible status, irreversible practice, like your effort won't slack off, and irreversible thought, your mind stays aligned with truth.
Correct. And normally, completely achieving all 3 is a sign of a very advanced being, like those Dengju Pusa again.
But Master Wu is saying, in the Pure Land, just getting the first one, the status, automatically means you've completely got all 3 at the same time.
Exactly. Completely achieve Yuanzheng. It implies that your state of being, your insight, your practice capacity, right from the moment of rebirth, is effectively equivalent to someone who has perfected all 3 irreversibilities. You arrive functioning at that near Buddha level.
That just sounds, I mean, honestly, almost too good to be true. How can we trust such an extraordinary claim? It's not spelled out like that everywhere else.
That's where the weight of Master Wu's authority comes in, especially in this lineage. Venerable Master Ying Guang, who many believe was a manifestation of Mahasammaprapta Bodhisattva, gave Wu's commentary the highest possible praise. He literally said that even if an ancient Buddha came back to write a commentary on this sutra, they couldn't do better than Master Wu.
Wow. Okay, that's not just saying good job. That's basically saying this commentary has ultimate authority coming from someone seen as a bodhisattva himself.
It strongly suggests Master Wu must have also been an incredibly high-level bodhisattva, maybe Guanyin, revealing these deeper meanings. So within this tradition, that level of endorsement means Wu's insights, including this radical point about instantly Yuanzheng Sam Butui, are taken as profoundly reliable. It's a unique marvel of this specific path.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. The source also helps us understand where the sutra fits in the big picture, its classification.
Right. It's clearly a Mahayana Bodhisattva teaching aimed at becoming a Buddha to help everyone. And within the way scriptures are categorized, it's called unasked self-spoken.
Unasked self-spoken, meaning the Buddha just brought it up himself. Nobody prompted him.
Exactly. He didn't wait for a question. He initiated this teaching out of pure compassion because he saw that beings were ready, their affinity was ripe to hear about and benefit from this path.
So he saw the timing was right for people to grasp this message.
Yes, it's seen as a teaching given entirely from the Buddha's compassionate initiative. And it's described as the most direct, complete, stable, fast, simple, and easy way to reach full enlightenment in just one lifetime. And the core practice. Just faith, vow, and holding the name. Xin Yuan Qiming.
Faith, vow, chanting. That does sound remarkably simple compared to, complex meditations or philosophical studies.
That's its genius, its accessibility. But the source stresses, despite its simplicity, this sutra actually holds the essence of the giant, profound sutras like the Avatamsaka and the Lotus Sutra. It's the ultimate shortcut, the one all Buddhas really hope beings will find. Understanding its classification highlights just how central it is.
So with that context, the source then starts looking at the very beginning of the sutra text, the traditional opening lines that prove it's authentic, the 6 accomplishments.
Right, the classic, thus I have heard, opening. These 6 elements act like credentials. There's faith, thus, hearing, I have heard, showing it was passed down, time, at one time, the right moment, host, the Buddha speaking, place like the Jetavana monastery, and the assembly, who was listening.
And the source pulls out a few of these to explore deeper meanings. Starting right at the beginning, thus, Rishi. What's the depth there?
Thus points to ultimate reality. The source explains it has 2 sides. There's the principle, the underlying true nature, reality as it is, that's the thos. Then there are the phenomena, everything we see, the universe, the pure land, us, that's the is. Okay, so reality is the unchanging nature and all the changing appearances. Yes, and crucially, the appearances arise from that nature and are that nature, fundamentally. The classic analogy is gold and things made of gold. The gold is the nature, thus the cups and bowls are the phenomena. Every gold cup is gold. Similarly, all phenomena are just manifestations of the true nature. Any teaching not rooted in this basic reality, this thus, isn't considered Buddha Dharma.
And how does that thus connect back to the Pure Land practice itself?
Well, in this sutra, the Buddha asks practitioners to achieve single-mindedness, yi sin bu luan. That state of single-minded focus is the pure, true mind, our inherent nature, the thus. And the famous saying, this mind is Buddha, this mind makes Buddha, shi sin shi fo, shi sin zo fo, that's the is. This mind, when purified through chanting, is inherently Buddha and becomes Buddha. It aligns perfectly with that true nature. So chanting to reach single-mindedness is the practical way to realize this thusness.
Wow, okay. Connecting ultimate reality right to the act of chanting. That's powerful. What about at one time? Why not a specific date, like, Tuesday the 3rd?
Precisely because it's not a fixed calendar date. The source calls it a living time. It's that dynamic moment when the Buddha perceives that beings have the capacity, the readiness, the ripeness for this specific teaching. When the conditions align and people are receptive, that's one time. It makes the teaching eternally relevant, available whenever you, the listener, are ready.
The source also mentions the place Jetavana monastery being built by lay followers.
Yes, and highlights this as a great example of how vital lay support is providing the physical means for the Dharma to spread. And this leads into a really interesting point the source makes about adapting the Dharma.
Adapt, you mean like for different cultures or modern times?
Exactly. The source uses the example of Buddhist temples in China being built in the Chinese palace style, not ancient Indian style. It shows Buddhism localizing. And the critique offered is that building traditional Chinese-style temples in, say, America today might actually alienate locals rather than welcoming them. It doesn't feel like their place.
Right, it feels foreign. So the suggestion is?
Build in styles that are familiar and comfortable within the local culture. Make it feel accessible. This adaptability is seen as key for the Dharma to truly take root anywhere.
And that idea of adapting then leads to that prediction about technology.
Yeah, quite remarkably, the source talks about a prediction made quite some time ago about Dharma spreading via computers, the internet. Dharma delivered right to your personal device.
It basically predicted podcasts and online Dharma talks.
Pretty much. It underscores the need to adapt the method of sharing. Maybe physical buildings become less about direct mass teaching and more for other functions, while digital resources, Dharma software, become the main way to reach people. Very forward-thinking.
Okay, then the assembly. Who was actually there listening?
It lists monks, bodhisattvas, and then devas and humans. The order matters. Monastics first. They represent the Dharma. They were always with the Buddha. They uphold the monastic form. bodhisattvas next in all sorts of forms. Then divas and humans, representing the worldly protectors.
And the source really emphasizes the Sangha, the monastic community, being most honored because of their harmony, the 6 harmonies.
Yes. And while all 6 are vital for a functioning community, the source zooms in on one. Harmony in views, Jianhe Tongje. This is seen as the absolute foundation. And how do you achieve harmony in views? By everyone letting go of their own personal opinions and ideas and resting in the pure basic mind.
Letting go of all your views, that sounds radical. Don't we need views to understand things?
That's the profound insight here. The Buddha's approach wasn't adopt my view, it was abandon your views. When everyone drops their subjective filters, what's left? The shared ground of reality, the clear mind itself. That state, which the Heart Sutra calls without knowledge and without attainment, wuzi ude, is where true wisdom arises. Not from piling up concepts, but from inner clarity. The example of Huineng, the illiterate 6th patriarch who understood everything by seeing his nature, points to this.
So real understanding comes from emptying the cup, not just filling it more.
According to this perspective, yes. That's the basis for genuine shared understanding and harmony.
Then the source gets specific about who was in the assembly, like the 16 elders, the arhats.
Right. And it's crucial to see them in this context, not just as historical figures, but as manifestations of great bodhisattvas. They appeared as arhats specifically to build confidence in this Pure Land method. Their presence signals that this path works for everyone, no matter their natural talents or inclinations.
Like having Sariputra, known for wisdom, alongside someone like Prajñā, who was apparently quite slow but still succeeded.
Exactly. They cover the whole spectrum. It's like saying, whether you're brilliant or you struggle, you can make it with this method. They're there to inspire faith.
And after the arhats, certain key bodhisattvas are mentioned, Manjusri and Maitreya.
Yes. Manjusri represents wisdom, and Maitreya is the next Buddha. They are present to encourage the aspiration, the sincere wish to be reborn in the Pure Land. And it's really significant that Maitreya, the future Buddha, is shown encouraging people towards Amitabha's Pure Land.
Why is that so significant? Why not his own?
Because reaching Maitreya's own Pure Land to see to heaven is described as very difficult. It requires advanced meditation, deep understanding of consciousness-only philosophy. It's a high bar. Amitabha's Pure Land, based on faith, vow, and practice, is presented as the much more accessible route, the shortcut.
A shortcut even to meet Maitreya.
Yes, because by getting to Amitabha's Pure Land, you can actually meet Maitreya there regularly. He visits Amitabha's assembly, so you become like his classmate, his Shishyandiya. It's an easier way to connect with the future Buddha than trying to get into Tusita directly.
Fascinating. And the other 2 bodhisattvas mentioned, Gandhahasti and Changjingchen.
Their names mean things like non-resting and constant vigor or ever diligent. They represent and encourage practice. So right there in the list of who's listening at the very start, you have figures embodying and encouraging faith, the arhats, vow, Manjusri, Maitreya, and practice, Gandhahasti, Changjingchen, the 3 essentials for this path. It's all laid out.
Then, after that general intro, the sutra gives a specific introduction to the Pure Land itself in just 3 short phrases.
That's right. From here, passing through worlds, there is a world called ultimate bliss. In that land, there is a Buddha named Amitabha who is right now speaking the Dharma.
And these 3 lines pack in everything.
They describe the 3 key aspects or splendors of the Pure Land, and they implicitly contain the call to faith, vow, and practice. A world called ultimate bliss. That's the environmental splendor. The source stresses this world truly exists. It's actually presented as more real and enduring than our constantly changing, suffering world. This naturally encourages the vow wanting to leave the false and go to the true, blissful reality.
Okay. Then there is a Buddha named Amitabha.
That's the being's splendor. Amitabha Buddha is a real being, the main teacher there. Believing this reality encourages faith.
And the last part, currently speaking, the Dharma.
That's the teaching splendor and shows the Buddha's ongoing activity. He's not just sitting there, he's actively teaching, guiding. This encourages practice engaging with the Dharma, holding the name. So these 3 simple phrases are seen as perfectly complete, urging faith, vow, and practice just by describing the reality of the Pure Land. It's incredibly concise.
Which brings us to the final point the source drives home. The absolutely mind-blowing merit and power contained just within that name, Amituofo.
Yeah, the source says very few people truly grasp this. It's presented not just as a practice, but as the very essence of the entire Buddhist Dharma.
How can one name be the essence of everything? That sounds huge.
The source lays out this kind of distillation process. You have the entire massive Tripitaka. It's outlined as the Avatamsaka Sutra. The conclusion or core of Avamsaka is the Infinite Life Sutra. The Amitabha Sutra is like the summary or essential points of the Infinite Life Sutra. The heart of that sutra is the 48 vows. The absolute core of the vows, especially the 18th about rebirth through recitation, is condensed into the name itself, Amittuofo.
So it's like the ultimate concentration, the absolute peak.
Exactly. Like the summit of a mountain containing everything below it. It encompasses all 84,000 Dharma doors. The power is just immense. The source even quotes Master Ching Kung, a Tiantai master, saying that the name Amittuofo can eliminate the absolute heaviest karma so bad that no other sutra, no other method, no repentance ceremony could clear it.
Whoa. The best way to clear karma is just chanting the name. That's an extraordinary claim.
It is. And the source offers observable evidence, too. It points out how people who sincerely recite often find their health improves, their appearance becomes more radiant, they feel this deep inner joy, fashi zhongman. These are seen as tangible signs that karmic obstacles are being dissolved by the power inherent in the name.
And the success in spreading this particular teaching.
Master Ching Kung attributes that completely to Amitabha Buddha's blessing and the active support of all Buddhas. This sutra is specifically called the Sutra Remembered and Protected by All Buddhas. So when you promote it, you gain the invisible support of all enlightened beings, which helps explain its surprising reach and impact.
Okay, this has been, well, quite a journey through some incredibly deep and maybe challenging ideas from this commentary. We've looked at being reborn with karma, the unbelievable speed of progress there, Master Wu's point about instantly hitting the highest levels of irreversibility. How the sutra is classified as this universal shortcut, the deep reality hidden in "thus I have heard," the need for Dharma to adapt with culture and tech, the roles of everyone in the assembly encouraging faith, vow, and practice, and finally this idea of the inconceivable power concentrated in just saying Amittuofo. Really, understanding these points from the source is meant to help solidify your own faith and deepen your vow, showing just how practical and powerful this path can be, even if it seems simple on the surface. And as we finish up this deep dive, maybe something to think about, that idea we touched on, that true wisdom, prajna, is described as without knowledge and without attainment, based in emptiness. What might that suggest about how we usually approach learning, how we value accumulating information? How should we engage with even the profound knowledge we've talked about today, if ultimate wisdom is? Without knowledge. Something to mull over.